In this video, we are going to talk about the tabbed record detail screens in Cobblestone Contract Insight. You might be familiar with the orientation of these updated detail screens in Cobblestone from previous videos. We are going to give an overview of the format since this changed from the older UI, but then in the latter half of this video, we're going to talk about the configuration of the detail screens, how to reorient the tabs, and update a few things on the side panel. So the tabbed record detail screen updates the user interface for record detail screens throughout the system, contracts, requests, solicitations, etc. This updates the UI of all of the major areas. Most of the core information is the same, so it should be pretty intuitive to navigate if you're used to prior versions of Cobblestone. It's just so where we have all of the organization organized as tabs as opposed to having to scroll down vertically to see all of the data. So we'll quickly walk through this. Record details is going to show all of the field groups. Subtable shows all of the user-defined and other subtables in the system. Tasks and email shows just that. Tasks, workflows, and emails. Attachments and templates shows the files and attachments table, as well as the document authoring, document template area. We have ratings and surveys, linked records, and notes and additional information. You just click through these tabs to navigate. All of these tabs are configurable. There is an out-of-the-box default that we can start with, and then we can talk about how to configure these tabs from here. So this new update offers a lot of flexibility and configurability with the way that your record details screens are displayed. And now we have the option to distinguish even further between different types of contracts and different areas of the system. So for example, a consulting agreement could be even more distinct from like other record types, like an NDA, for example. On the left-hand side, we have a header, which happens to be the contract title in my case. We have a few tags on the left, which are other important fields that we're just highlighting here and calling out. Both the header and the tags are configurable. We can have up to 2 headers and up to 3 tags. Then we have notices and alerts. So as opposed to having to move through the tabs to see your alerts, it gives a nice summary of all of those notices and alerts here. You can mouse over each of them to see a summary. So here is the record and the record notices that I have. I have alerts. These are through workflow. I have budget. This is grayed out because it's only used on purchase orders and request records. And then I have tasks. If I had any workflow tasks assigned to me, this would show a number greater than 0. And of course, you could click on these to see more details. Moving down, we have record actions. If you're familiar with the old interface, there was a series of icons on the left-hand side, and once you hovered over them, you were able to see many record actions. Here, 5 of the more commonly used buttons were just placed front and center. And if you want to access the rest of them, you can click View All Actions right there to see a large list of the rest of the items organized into categories. And then finally, if you want to return to the contract list or head to the contract list to perform some contract searches, you can click Return to Contract List. So these are the user interface updates. Next, let's jump into the configuration. To access the configuration, we are going to go to the main menu, down to Manage Setup, Application Configuration, and then down to the Record Details tab Setup. From this page, the first thing I want to acknowledge is that we have a table or area that we can select first. So you could choose if you're going to contracts, requests, solicitations, etc. And there is a default for each area, right? So this happens to be the default that I have set up for my contracts, okay? So if I'm just on contracts, we'll see that, right? It's just going to look like the basic. I'll just click Reset to Default, and this is the standard. This is where I'm starting from. And then, of course, you could click into individual record types if you want to manage that particular record type. But again, there is like a default for each area. And so when it comes down to it, we can edit the default and apply that default to various record types. We can edit individual record types, so I could manage a consulting agreement specifically, for example. Or I could start from scratch on a record type. So I could go to a record type I haven't touched yet, like an NDA, and start from there. Right? So I can change my default. I can take that default, apply it to a certain record type and tweak it from there, or I can go to a certain record type and just start from scratch. Okay, so I just refreshed the page here, and you'll see I'm just on contracts, right? And this is the default settings for my contracts. If I want to change the default, I can do that. I mean, I could add new tabs here, right? I could go into existing tabs and edit these existing tabs. I could change the order of tabs. And again, this would be changing the default because I just have contracts selected. I don't have an individual record type. I am going to flick over to an individual record type. I'm going to go to a consulting agreement. And it's going to look pretty much the same thing because my consulting agreement is set to my default. And editing this versus editing the default is really the same thing. It's just a matter that now I have this consulting agreement record type selected. So now let's talk about how I would edit an existing record type like from the base default settings. You can see it's on the default settings, but if I click reset to default tabs and docs, that will definitely make sure that I'm on the default. And I think it's straightforward enough. We can go to each of the tabs here. And if I want to add something to the tabs, I can add a new doc. I can click maybe add doc at top. See that? Then I'll select my doc type, and there's quite a few options from the drop-down list. I can display all user-defined subtables. That's like what I have over here in the subtable tab in the out-of-the-box setting. I can display a single field group, a single sub-area. A sub-area is like files and attachments, other subtables, workflow, document templates. I can display static rich text, and I can display notifications. The other option that's not present here at the moment because it's already a doc is display all fields and groups. Just for a simple example, let's click static rich text. And I'm just going to type in message. And let's go with that as a quick example. I just added a doc. And if I go back and refresh, I'll see the doc at the top here, right? See that? And if you want to rearrange the order of these items, you can just click the caret icons and push these up and down. Okay, so that's editing an existing doc. I imagine that's what most folks will do most often, is generally use the default, but make adjustments to it where necessary. If you want to add new tabs, you of course can. So let's go add a new test tab. Select a tab creation option. There's docs or dashboards. We're just going to focus on docs for now. We'll talk about dashboards soon. But we'll add a doc. It'll be on the right-hand side. There it is, new test tab. I'll add a doc at the top. Choose the doc type from the drop-down list. We'll go with a field group as an example. I'll choose which field group. We'll go with key dates. No need to save. You really only need to save when you're inputting text. I'll go back, refresh, and now we'll see this option up at the top, new test tab. And there it is, displaying our key dates field group. You can also rearrange the order of these tabs. So I can just go to new test tab. I can just click it, hold, and then drag. So now it's over near the left. I'll go back, I'll refresh. New test tab is now moved over to the left. Okay. So, right. So from a consulting agreement specifically, I have it reset to default tabs and docs, and I can edit individual tabs. I can go in here and I can make changes. So here's like another quick change just as an example. If I want to update subtables to have a hyphen, I could totally do that. I'll just click rename this tab. Now it has a hyphen. If I go back, I refresh, now it has a hyphen. Right, so I can edit existing tabs and I can create new tabs. Okay. And the last thing I want to highlight here is this notification option. Notification docks arranged within tabs or static notifications above tabs. Let me set it to static notifications above tabs. I'd like to start with that one as an example. So if I set that setting and then I refresh, we're going to see the notifications above all of the tabs. As it says, static notifications above tabs. That setting's nice if you want to always see the notifications front and center and at the top. It takes up more screen real estate, but the notes and alerts are more prevalent. If I want them to be a bit more hidden, I could do that. I could switch this to notification dock arranged within tabs. Then I can go down to an individual tab, add a dock. In this case, display, and in this case, select display notifications. I'll choose that, go back, refresh, and now this notices an alerts section. We moved underneath the record details tab. Just like that. Right, so this just allows me to either put the notifications at the top or move them underneath individual tabs at my preference. Okay, and I'll reset this, removing those changes. If I want to start one of these from scratch, I could. I'm on a consulting agreement, but I could click delete all for this type. Right, there we go. And I could just start from scratch, right? I mean, I could click record info, right? I'll add that as a doc. I'll add a doc. Notice I just have this one tab. I removed all the other ones. I'm not starting from that default setting. I'm going to display all fields and groups. Great. I'm going to hop back here. I'm going to refresh my page. Boom. Now I just have the one tab. Okay. If you go to a new record type you haven't worked with yet, there's like a snow removal contract, for example, you're going to notice there's no tabs assigned here yet. So anything I add here will be starting from scratch, right? But if I do want to just start from the default, okay, I would just go to reset to default tabs and docks. Click OK. And there we go. Now we're starting from that default place. Okay, I hope that makes sense. The last thing I want to highlight here very quickly is if you're adding a new tab, you're going to notice there is the option to create a tab for the dashboard. This allows us the option to add record level dashboards to our records. These are basically graphical dashboards that are on the record level. You can create these yourselves and apply them if you'd like to, but we are offering out of the box record level dashboards in a coming release. I'm just going to switch over to another system here and show an example. Let me refresh this page. And here's an example of a record level dashboard for my employee record. Okay. And in the future, each of the major record areas is going to have its unique record level dashboard. And that's what that is. Again, there's out of the box options coming soon. But for now, if you see the option to create a tab for a dashboard, that's what it's talking about. So that's how you edit the tabs. Now quickly, let's talk about the side panel information. It's pretty straightforward. This just allows me to choose up to 2 headers. Right now I just have the contract title. If I want to add another one, I could, and this would just be added to the title up here. Similar, we have side panel tags. I have 3 applied: contract type, department, and counterparty name. Right, these 3. And if I want to remove them and add new ones, I could. And that covers everything we need to know about the tabbed record detail screens in Cobblestone Contract Insight. With any questions, please feel free to contact training@cobblestonesoftware.com. Thank you.